Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, ThirstTrap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, ThirstTrap, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, ThirstTrap.
Do the same way, bitch I done tried a 9 to 5 and do the same way. Bitch I was born black, can't no whites compare to that. I done seen a lot of niggas lose their lives cause of that, and that's a born fact. Cause I'm black, I'm supposed to lay down and take the shit you giving me. Well bitch I ain't gonna stay down, my hands up, screaming don't shoot. Because I'm black and pigs, they be quick to let it loose. We gotta come together, take a stand now, get this man out the White House. We done playing around, I'm done talking. Yeah, I done said it all. It's time for clickbaity, political thirst trap. I'm done talking. Yeah, I done said it all. It's time for clickbaity, political thirst trap, thirst trap, thirst trap.
Yo, Marcus, it's Thursday, boy.
That's what I'm talking about. One day, one more day, alive and well.
Well, who's driving this boat tonight?
Yeah, we know who's driving the boat. It ain't us.
It's going to be me, Kendra Cotton extraordinaire. Thank y'all for having me on.
Cotton.
I'm talking about.
I appreciate that. We have, well, let's just jump right in and hit it. We got breaking news today. Well, actually this evening, we all have been upset and disturbed by the heinous act that took place down in Glenn County, Georgia, way back in February. We had 2 murderers on the loose until about 8 p.m. I guess this evening, when we just got the news that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation stepped in and arrested what are the McMichaels.
Yep, that's them. Father and son. I think we have some technical difficulties with Kendra's connection. She's gonna jump right back in. Oh,
yeah, I'm back.
You back?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But okay, super relieved on behalf of the family, particularly Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Miss Jones. I want to, if you guys don't mind, I know we have kind of a run of show, but I would love if we could, go ahead and just move this to the forefront of the conversation, since we just got this news in, and just kind of talk about what this has meant for us as Black people, what this means for us with nieces and cousins and children here in 2020, for us to wake up and realize that this brother was minding his business on a run, which I'm sure you guys have done. I know I do on a regular basis. And to be snuffed out like that in callous disregard, and then to have 3 district attorneys stand up and say, hey, it was legal. How do you reconcile that as a professional Black person, to have the state sanction murder? I mean, you guys are Black men. I'm a mother, and for me, I get very emotional about stuff like this. My sons are 15 and 13, and when I put them in Ahmaud's place, it is so disturbing to me, because he was just living as anyone else can, and it matters not if these men are alleging that he was in a construction house. It's not even built. So what? Who are you? Who are you to police this man like that?
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, you have to get to a place, you know, where white people need to understand that this kind of stuff can't stand. Like, we're being hunted. And when I say we, you know, I feel like people who are not Black don't understand the collectivism of our community. When things like this happen, we, you know, operate under an edict, but by the grace of God go I. Okay. So if it can happen to Ahmaud, I know it can happen to Marcus. I know it can happen to Mondale. I know it can happen to my husband, Michael. No one is exempt, because if you are a Black man, white people have a fear of your very existence. And that should make everyone mourn. I would love to get y'all's thoughts on that, because you're walking around in that skin every day.
As you start and as you speak, as a Black woman, I want to just say, like, we're not gonna divide this one up by gender, right? This affects our communities, right? So
yes.
it's important that we do this, that we start this conversation off. I mean, literally, right when we were hitting the button to start this share on Facebook, we found out the information that the two murderers finally got arrested. But and I still question the justice system. They can be arrested as much as they want, but grand juries have this magical way of figuring out.
Absolutely.
Grand juries have this magical way of figuring out how to make charges much less. Grand juries
yes.
have a magical way of making it out to be, because no matter what, automatically the justice system adds, 5 years or adds 20 years to our skin tone, or 20 years less to the person who killed us. When it comes down to the justice system working. So yes, it's a good start, but let's think about how this whole thing started. We are 3 months past due of the time that these guys should have been put in jail. The justice system and the corruption and the anti-Blackness of the law enforcement folks in the Brunswick area has been so ingrained. You can look at the history of these same cops, these same prosecutors, and you can find multiple issues of bias against African-American bodies. There's even an innocent man that's in jail right now that they won't even let out right now. And this is in the same county. So, I mean, for them to hide it for 3 months tells me, and then seeing how quickly brothers get arrested under questionable conditions in normal settings, just for, jaywalking or something like that, how quick things tend to escalate when it comes down to Black men and Black people in comparison to these guys got to, as you said earlier, Kendra, breathe free air for 3 months and automatically have the benefit of the doubt from power structures across the country until the video comes out. And then when the video comes out, we got freaking Trey Gowdy sitting up here saying that there must be justice. Let's
talk about that.
Right. So,
well, why do we have to have a video proving that we've done no harm, right? Because here's my thing. Let's remove ourselves from this situation. Let's say there was a scenario where this brother had committed a crime. Why are we denied, right, the opportunity, the privilege to visit our loved ones in jail, right? You have scenarios in this country where you will take a white boy, go buy him a hamburger because he's hungry after he shot up a church of innocence, right? Take care. His mama is going to visit him the rest of his days. But our young men are denied that on a suspicion of wrongdoing, not proof, suspicion.
Come on now.
We need to talk about that.
Well, I definitely want to say the news of, I'm definitely going to get to it, Kendra. I definitely want to talk about that. The news of the father and son murderers being locked up hits different for me today. Not because I believe it's a good start, because it's not a good start. It's too late to be a good start. It's a start, yeah, but I literally just arrived 3 minutes before we got in the pre-show in my hotel in Brunswick, Georgia, right? So driving down here, just thinking about all of the things I shouldn't have been thinking about. How did enslaved Black people run from this far down to Ohio with no map and roads is what I was thinking. And I'm looking at these huge oak trees with Spanish moss sitting beside palm trees and thinking about how they made good for hanging Black folk. And then couple that with this so-called freedom that we have that allows us still to be murdered for nothing other than Blackness. So we should never be naive enough to believe that the system isn't working as it was designed, as it has always worked. So when we hear about, you know, the need for videotape, it's how America is designed. You can't be innocent and Black. That innocent until proven guilty, it should have said the invisible words, which is if you are white, right? Because let's go a step further. Even before we get upset, and we had the right to be upset with all of the DAs that recused themselves or whatever they did, we had a bigger problem. The police officer didn't even, the police officer that went to that responded to the call didn't even check and see who was armed. He only knew the dad was armed because the dad still had his firearm out, the shotgun out. He didn't know if the other two guys were armed. He said they probably were, which tells us that he didn't even search them, which means his life was in jeopardy or could have been. But they're so comfortable around whiteness. Right. He know these men just murdered somebody, but it doesn't strike fear in him.
Yeah, I want to interject here just to make sure that we actually get the names out on this show. Gregory and Travis McMichael.
Those are the father and son.
They're their father and son, both one's 34. Yeah,
the father and son.
And one's 34. And have just been arrested. Literally, we just found out about this maybe 10 minutes ago for the murder. And I'm going to say murder of Ahmaud.
It absolutely was.
Right.
It's murder.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and say that. And I also want to kind of add on to what you said. You know, in the military, you're guilty until proven innocent. And Black men are literally the only ones outside of the American military complex. Well, not Black men, just people of color in general, but Black men
of color
are definitely guilty until proven innocent. And if it takes a videotape and no voice, because there was no active, I want everybody in America who's watching this to understand that there was no active on the side of this brother did not do anything wrong. And it took a videotape to happen. Now, understand something. Brothers get killed every day. I mentioned my cousin last weekend, Jonathan Farrell. Without a videotape, they could have created any story that they want to.
They do create any story
they want to. They do create any story that they want.
Yeah, they do.
So my thing for the American government and the American people, while we're screaming Medicare for all, and while we're screaming DACA, and while we're screaming so many other things that happen in America, I think we should actually have a doctrine that any Black person that's killed by a white cop, former white cop, or a white person, that there needs to be a serious investigation. A serious investigation, ballistics, when it comes down to logistics, when it comes down to area, and when it comes down, most importantly, to the current track records of what folks did. They tried to criminalize this brother before he even had an opportunity to speak for himself. They tried to criminalize him. So, I mean, we know that we know that the burden of proof is always on us, and that's something that we need to figure out. And there has to be a different way of going about this.
I want to say one more thing too. A couple more things. The first thing I want to say is, go ahead. Here's what I was going to say. We should not be fool enough to think that those tapes are just the tapes. They're like they just appeared, right? The cops had the tapes since this murder.
Yes, they did.
There's an attorney who's a private attorney said he came out today and said he leaked those tapes.
I did it.
Yeah.
His brother, a white man, said he leaked those tapes because guess what? They were going to be comfortable sitting on those tapes until this went away.
Yes.
So the tragedy is I said all that to say because like what happens is we have they have the information to make us innocent, even though that's not the job, right? But that's not their motive, which tells me that there's something in the psyche of those that practice in whiteness and white supremacy that is a sickness. You are okay sitting beside a murderer as long as the victim is a black body. That is a sickness.
I want to say something before you finish.
But they don't consider that murder.
They don't consider that murder.
Let's think about Brother Kendrick Johnson, right? Brother Kendrick Johnson, who was found rolled up in a mat, and no one has still been charged for that yet. Let's think about let's think about Trayvon.
All of them. All his brothers. All the sisters.
All these systems that we end up dead and our voices don't get heard. And it takes almost a live video that's too traumatic to watch for a white man to be like, oh,
yes,
this is kind of crazy. I need to do the right thing by God in this situation. Because basically, I promise you, if you're a Christian, Christ talked to that man and was like, I can't let this one go. So, I guess.
I'm just gonna tell you this. I guess on that, because let me be clear. Like when I look at, in our history, in American history, when you see those postcards of those folks out there standing around those lynching parties, they got their children out there, their wives, they eating, it's potlucks, whatever. They got up and went to church on Sunday. The Christianity that they put forth, I don't understand it. They have never seen us, Black people, as people on their level. It's as if that 3/5 compromise is still in existence. We are just not, for a certain segment, I cannot say all, but for a certain segment of white America, we are otherized. And that's never going away. It's never going away. Those men went home, you can best believe they did not lose their appetite. They had dinner, they cracked some beers, they talked about what happened, and they were talking about the audacity of that man, of that young man, to not yield and bend to their will.
Mm-hmm. And how they
that alone, they thought he deserved to die.
And how they won. And how and they celebrated it.
Let's put this in proper context. Because this segment, Kendra, you have a point of view that Marcus and I don't. This woman, Arbery's mother, wakes up on Sunday without her son. The same is true for Sean Reed's mother in Indianapolis. This mother grieves, but every time she grieves, I think about Lucy McBath and all the other sisters that have to be grieving and being reminded of that. This is a uniquely Black experience where this happens so regularly that your child's death is connected and it weighs so heavy because it's so many other. I don't want to speak for you. Tell us what that means. How does that? Yeah.
But it's the extra variable. It is. We all know it is unnatural, whether you're a father, whether you're a mother, it is unnatural to bury a child, period, full stop. That is not the order of things. To lose it, everyone knows to have children, if you have them, is to watch your pieces of your heart running around free in the world, okay? You wish you could scoop them up, but they're grown, they're out there in the world, and that's just what it is. And so there's a level of vulnerability with it. Everyone knows rationally, whether you're Black, whether you're white, Latino, Native American, you might get a call one day that there's been a car accident, or you might get a call one day that there was some health scare. Those are things that you can rationalize. But to get a call, you know what, you can, as a parent of a young boy that is, rebellious or out there, that there might be a chance that you could get a call that he got caught up in some mischief or some foolishness, right? And that, may have put him in the hospital or, ended his life. Okay, you can rationalize that. But to have somebody call you and tell you that your baby was taken from you out of pure hatred, that he did nothing to precipitate it, but just exist. That's something that you can never get over. I mean, when you bring your children, when they bring you your baby in a hospital, and you hand it, I have a daughter and I have 2 sons. It's a difference for me, and I can't say for all Black mothers, but it was a difference for my sons because I knew the cross that they would have to bear as males, because I know how America treats Black men.
Yeah.
While I appreciate what y'all were saying about we don't want to separate this by gender, let me be clear. American systems favor, in my opinion, and this is me coming from my political science background, we can look at policies that have emanated through welfare policies or whatever, the decimation of the Black family, trying to separate Black men from the family unit.
This is true.
It has always been to emasculate Black men, and to know that you are raising your sons to have to navigate that type of hatred, and then to have all of your fears come to fruition in a single moment for some redneck bastard to walk up on your boy and kill him just because he can. Just because he can. That mother, that's what I said, I don't know how she can get past that, because you're just thinking about, because you wonder, did my baby, was he thinking about me? Did he cry out for me?
Ooh.
You know, what was going on in his mind in that moment? And it makes me so emotional just thinking about that kind of stuff, because no one deserves that. And it what's so infuriating is that when we first heard about this story, we're hearing about that young man bringing a gun to a football game at a high school.
In high school.
Why do I need to know about that? Why do I need to know about that?
Kendra, first I want to stop and say this is the political thirst trap. Wow, that was a moment. So I'm pausing on that one right there and just saying thank you for saying what you just said, sister. Something that we probably could never bring to the table. So thank you very much. I got another question for you. Like as it pertains to situations like this right here, as an organizer, as a Black mama, as a wife, as a sister, when you see police officers, how do you feel? Like, I want to hear that, because I think people already know how Black men feel and how at least I feel it when I see it. But how do you feel when you see a police officer just on a daily basis?
So just to let you, I posture. So let me just be clear. I come from my background. My father has always been in my life. I had 8 uncles on paternal side, 5 uncles, a host of male cousins. So I ride for Black men. So let me just say that. So when I see these,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
I posture, because I'm also a former academic, and I know, but I know that how they're going to treat me is different than how they would treat someone else. And let me unpack some of that. When a police officer rolls up on my Black behind, I am fair-skinned. I am driving a Honda Odyssey. I'm obviously, middle class. My manner of speech is one to where they would consider, oh, that's articulate. So they're immediately going to come to me, and 9 times out of 10, fellas, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I'm gonna get a warning. I'm a speed demon out here. I rarely get tickets. Now my husband, every single time, citation. It's no benefit of the doubt. It's no conversation. He's 6'4", he's 245 pounds. They see a big Black Negro. That's it. And they're like, oh, okay. And so I am keenly aware of that. So for me, I don't give them a pass regardless. I'm not smiling. I'm not whatever. I'm like, okay, thank you. I'm just very matter of fact, because I know how they treat my people. So but again, I am a person that is a community-minded person. And so I'm just like, I recognize my own privilege walking around, right? And so I know that there are levels to this when you're living and navigating in a white world, as we do every day. And so what I get as a Black person is very different than what my darker hued sisters get as a Black person, as what, you know what I'm saying? So we have to unpack all of that. So I can't, speak for all Black mothers because I present a little differently than most Black mothers. But I do use my privilege when I am able to help other people in situations because, my ability to navigate government, to know that the fact that I, have friends that are attorneys, all of that is informing those interactions, whereas everybody doesn't have that to draw from. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Like,
Absolutely.
I know I'm going to get out of a situation with my life. I know that. But that's not the case for everybody.
That's powerful.
I know that.
Indeed.
I'm calling you for bail money.
Yeah. Let me, hey, that's
money.
Listen,
a good game.
Listen, the bail ministry is a ministry too. Don't get it twisted. So, but let me apologize to our viewers simply because we jumped right in because we had breaking news and we didn't introduce Kendra. We didn't introduce ourselves. So let's start this over a little bit. Kendra, tell them who you are and who you with.
I'm Kendra Cotton. I am wife, mother. I consider myself a community activist. I've been in politics for years. I am a PhD dropout. I was going to be a professor and decided that wasn't the way to go. I thought that
congratulations.
I was a little too dynamic to be running regressions. And so I'm out here trying to be a voice for the voiceless, and to try to help elevate the conversations out here and just to move Black people forward. That's it.
I love it. Marcus Farrell?
Yeah, Marcus for America at Twitter and on Instagram. If you follow me on Facebook, it's just Marcus Farrell. Please like and share. Stop what you're doing right now, however many people that are on here, and just share this post real quick. It'll help us out.
And I'm Mondale Robinson, founder and also principal of Black Male Voters Project. Yay. There's so much to talk about today.
All right.
We spent a lot of time. I know people understand why we stayed where we were for so long, because we're talking about the loss of Black lives. And while we only spoke in detail about what happened in Georgia, in Brunswick, Georgia, the same thing just happened in Indianapolis. So don't even think that we are blind to that. We know what's going on. But I do want to move to a segment about something that's disconnected from Black hurt, physical hurt, but it's still Black hurt. And people don't see it that way. People might have just saw it as a headline and kept it moving. What I'm talking about is Donald Trump making one of his top donors Postmaster General. Marcus, then Kendra, tell me about that.
Right. So today, Donald Trump selected Louis DeJoy as his new Postmaster General choice. Democrats were highly upset about it. And the reason why they were upset, and they should be upset, is because this guy is literally one of Trump's biggest donors. The concern for me is right, and I'm gonna let Kendra get into. I'm gonna mention one of them, and I'm gonna talk about the other. My concern is the election and voting by mail. That's one concern. But the next concern is the decimation of the U.S. Postal Service. Now, everybody knows that I'm like a former Bernie guy, right? Whatever. I was Bernie's Black Outreach. It doesn't necessarily dictate my politics. But one thing that I do believe in is democratic socialism. You might disagree with it, but there are good aspects of it and there are bad aspects of it. Everybody that I know can go out of their way and make an argument for it. But one amazing democratic socialist idea that came out of the 1940s was a nationalized mail carrier system controlled by the government. Postal workers all over the country, it provides jobs all over the country. And if you get your mail right now, and if you see a USPS truck outside your house, you are actively acting in a democratic socialist way. It's a factual thing. So it's one good case about American democratic socialism. And they want to privatize it. Donald Trump said in a statement that the U.S. Postal Service was a direct enemy of Jeff Bezos and Amazon. So he blatantly told you what side that he was on. Now, you might get all your packages from Amazon, but I don't know many people who only get their packages from Amazon, because right now, if you still get mail, if you get a bill, that bill is coming through who? Right? So unless you're completely online, which I am, I still get double copies. I want a hard copy and I want a soft copy. So the concern with me is shutting down the U.S. Postal Service is going to literally increase our amount of money that we have to spend on sending things. I guarantee you that, because that's the way the capitalism works. And secondly, let's talk about one of the most effective unions in America. Yeah, you didn't know that. The U.S. Postal Service has one of the most active unions in America, and it protects their workers from being able to actually go out in all the conditions. You might have been in a hurricane and still got your mail.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you should love and support these unionized workers, right? So that's my major concern. Kendra, I'm going to give it to you because I know you got an aspect of it when it comes to vote by mail.
Well, so there's a couple of things that, you know, we should be concerned about. What is essentially the fox guarding the hen house, okay? Yes, Trump has shown his hand. The Republicans, you know, are constantly crying, oh, the Postal Service is insolvent, it's insolvent, it's insolvent. Okay, yes, they are running at a deficit, but let's talk about why they're running at a deficit, right? I forget which congressional, what year this occurred, but it was a Republican legislature. No, the Republican legislature that mandated that the Postal Service cover 100% of their pension outlay.
Right.
Okay, they're the only entity to every year they have to have in their coffers 100% of what it would cost them to pay out their pensions. That is insane. Okay, and then this idea that the Postal Service was ever supposed to be a business, that is a narrative shift that we're seeing, right? This is something that is constitutionally codified. It is an arm of government. Nothing in government is pay as it goes, but that's what they want to set up. So the Postal Service is not competing with Amazon. Amazon doesn't move a tenth of the units that the Postal Service moves every day. They just don't. They don't have the capacity. And in fact, Amazon, UPS, they're running a lot of their low-level, you know, packages through the Postal Service. That's how you're getting stuff stuffed in your mailbox, right? But let's talk about this vote by mail, right? Vote by mail. What concerns me about this postmaster and a crony of Trump's is when you eat it from the postmaster, that, you know, whether it's a formal letter on formal letterhead that says, you know what, the Postal Service is insecure and we shouldn't have something as important as ballots rolling through our postal system. What do you think is going to occur with absentee ballots? What do y'all think is going to happen? They're going to throw that entire system out. That's all it's going to take, is because John Q. Public, they didn't get this news today, Marcus. They don't know that there's a new Postmaster General. That man is going to sign that letter as the Postmaster General, and nobody is going to know any idea of when he was named to that position. So what do we do with that? So how do we combat that? How do we educate folks about that?
Yeah, I think Kendra, I think you're absolutely right, and I think people we continue to talk about you know, how ignorant Donald Trump is, and please don't get me twisted, he is. But he has some conniving people around him about stealing elections. The best at stealing elections. Yeah. So like this, first he started out bashing the vote by mail system. Then he takes over the entire mail system. So like this is not a small move. This is so dangerous. Yep. And also you couple that with the fact that Donald Trump is now sending through the RNC and also his campaign, his reelection campaign, sending these task force in to protect the vote. So they're going to threaten the mail ballot. Then they're going to prevent people by force or fear of force from using the regular ballot. So I'm telling you right now, people that think that this move was just a strategic move on turning a government entity into a private business is really missing what's happening here. This is a direct assault on democracy, and not just because of what the importance that the post office played in our daily lives, but what it means to vote. And we see more states voting by mail, and those states that vote by mail, overwhelmingly more people to participate, right? And also people that vote by mail don't generally, in the states that like are all vote by mail, they're not voting for Trump. They're not voting for
Mondale, I mean, they see those numbers, they see those requests. They know that the more people that vote, the more the odds are they're losing.
Mondale, Kendra, can I make one statement that Trump actually said? He said this. He said, for some strange reason, states that vote by mail, Republicans always lose.
He said that.
Yes.
He really said it. And then 2 months later, he puts his boy in charge of the mail program. This
Scary.
literally the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, but I live in it.
Yeah.
So if we know that we have someone who actually says these things, who actually believes these things, then, you know, I'm gonna go back to my little original argument that I wrote the article on. Who is the major person who knows how to fight against voter suppression tactics? That should be our vice presidential pick, the woman from Georgia, Stacey Abrams. That's my pick. Only because
Stacey gets a free commercial every Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday. Listen, I don't care how you feel about it. The major problem that's going to happen in America in November.
That's right.
Access to voting. And there's only one person that's in this whole conversation
That's right.
that or actually has experience to stop that. People always want to talk about Stacey Abrams' experience. Well, you got to get to become the president to show your experience. And if you're not the president and you have to have the best people around,
there's never been a person qualified for that office until they got that office. I hate that conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, and they use it against black women, unless they're black women, black people in general.
And if they really cared about qualification, then Hillary Clinton would have won 50 states, because she damn near had every office.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, qualifications only come to women and black people, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll throw in Latinos as well, because they did, you know, Julian Castro the same way. Like, you know, if you are non-white, if you are not male, then yeah, you got to have a hell of a resume for them, the powers that be, to consider you qualified, right? So Stacey's qualified to be a senator, because, you know, that's what everybody's pissing about, right? She's qualified to be governor, right? But not qualified to be president. Yet they entertain Pete Buttigieg. Hold on.
What
did he do?
I got a question for you.
They entertain Beto.
Hey, Kendra, I have a question.
John Ossoff.
Kendra, oh, I was about to say it. How you feeling? Kendra, hey.
Okay. Hey, y'all know I don't play that. Hey.
Tell him how you feel about John Ossoff. Then I'm
It's
gonna tell you
business out here, man. Hey, that dude has zero qualifications. If you made him black, I mean, could have the same sex, but he was black and male, they would dismiss him. If he was a black woman or a white woman, it doesn't matter, with the same specs, they would dismiss him. But because he is white and wealthy, oh, now he's a boy wonder. This is who needs to represent us. He has zero experience. He is embellishing his resume. Hank Johnson knows good and well that dude was an intern in his office, an intern. And yet he's embellishing the resume. His company, his daddy bought for him. His daddy bought that company. Okay, so miss me with all of that. I'm like, absolutely not. And I'm sure he is a perfectly lovely person. This is not personal. What he represents is everything that holds my children back.
That's real.
I feel very strongly about that.
You need to explain exactly who Ossoff is.
Yeah, let me tell the world who Ossoff is. Go ahead, Marcus.
The political ThirstTrap is not an anti-Ossoff organization.
We aren't. Most of us are.
Yeah.
It's not, but this is not anti-Ossoff. It's what he represents, man.
The reason why I say it is because there's been a couple of episodes where we kind of like.
I don't listen to me. Honestly, honestly, every episode when his name come up should be that, because I'm gonna tell you why I am anti-Ossoff. He's dangerous, and I'll tell you why he's dangerous. He spent $40 million to lose an election that somebody came back and won with 2.5 million of her money. Then there's some other outside money spent, but she won that election.
And then says without him, she wouldn't have won.
And then here's the danger. He said without him, there's no blue wave. Without him, Stacey Abrams would not have performed as well as she did. This is what he said. This is what he said. No, he said that. I'm serious. Beyond that, let me explain to people.
That's what he said.
John Ossoff is a white man who ran for a special election in Georgia, sixth district. and lost. He spent 40 million, which is the most
60.
he ever spent on a race like that. Beyond that, he didn't even live in the district. He didn't even live in the district. And there was already progressives on the ballot. He put his name on the ballot. This is another reason he's dangerous. You see a progressive on the ballot as a white man, this is when you fall back. So he loses election, he goes away forever, and then he pops back up now to run for Senate. So he's basically asking for a raise in who he is. And he also said he's the reason that we had a blue wave in 2018.
Last thing I would like to go ahead, and since we're calling him out, we need to call out the race itself. It's the Georgia U.S. Senate primary, and we and the candidates are Maya Dillard-Smith. We have Teresa Tomlinson. I'm missing somebody very important. Who am I missing?
Sarah Riggs-Amico.
Sarah Riggs-Amico. And she about that life too. There's a few folks that are in that race. And also, since we talk about U.S. Senate races, I want to go ahead and just do my due diligence and give my brother in South Carolina, Jamie Harrison, a big old fat shout out. Support that brother, give that brother some money, and let's win 2 states.
Yes,
let's win
for real.
Kendra try this boat, Kendra. Yeah. Kendra try this boat.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on, fellas. Let's move on. So let's talk about COVID. Let's talk about COVID and what's in the news there, man. So like what we're seeing is basically, you know, when you're out and about, Georgia is open for business. Now, I don't know about these other states, but folks in Georgia are out and about. We got fights going on at Cumberland Mall. I put up Twitter yesterday and Cumberland was, you know, trending. And I'm like, what's going on? And the only person out there with a mask was a security guard. So I'm like, you know, what are we going to do? Because this is going to impact Black and brown communities. We see the numbers. We see who's on the rolls. Hell, I mean, the last thing I checked is they've stopped reporting as detailed as they were because they're wanting to give people a sense of normalcy, right? Heading into summer, because I have a feeling we're going to be open for business. And as our fearless leader out in DC, you know, Donald Trump has said, we're warriors out here. So we on the battlefield and got to be willing to die because the economy is what's most important. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Mondale, when you going to go get that haircut?
So actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna roll with this haircut. Let me be clear. I am traveling. I'm actually in Brunswick, Georgia right now for the birthday celebration that's gonna take place tomorrow, planned by the state NAACP, James Woodall and his crew. Here's what I'm saying. I'm nervous about people being outside, like in groups. I told James this a couple times a day. He assured me that he's working with the local, the CEO of the local hospital is providing PPE for everybody and also providing monitors to make sure people are social distancing properly. And I'm happy to hear that. I'm still nervous because I know since the state of Georgia opened up, the increase is up 40%, like the cases are up 40. And I know that means more Black people are gonna die. So I'm nervous about that. I'm also nervous about the fact that we are rushing to open this economy up because money is more important than lives. And people aren't even thinking of what it means. Like the first people that are gonna go back to work are people that need daycare, schools, and you know, child sitters, and those places aren't opening right now. And if they are, they're putting so many kids are in jeopardy, kids' lives in jeopardy, that it's not even safe. It's scary to me. So I'm not applauding anybody, especially when doctors and experts and the CDC literally just told Donald Trump, there's not one state in this union that has met all 4 criteria to reopen. So I'm very nervous about that.
Shelved the report. You heard they shelved the report from the CDC. Yep. It's supposed to be what, a 17-page report that gave guidelines to states for opening, and the administration said it's not going to see the light of day. So we don't even know what's in the report.
Right.
I believe we need to boycott. And what I mean by boycott is actively disobey the return to normalcy in the Black community. You know,
I agree.
They talked about, you know, in the 60s, you know, brothers and sisters during the Montgomery bus boycotts walked, you know, 10 miles, 20 miles, you know.
Joanne Robinson.
Yeah, and handed out soup to each other and fed each other, and gave each other rides, right? We need to figure out the infrastructure within our own communities, that instead of a car ride, we find the wealthiest of us to actually support, physically and financially support the least of us, and actually have a community-wide, boycott of going back out. We need to pay each other's rents right now. We need to figure out who has the money. We need to keep our community safe because we know that we're the most vulnerable to this.
We need to force our elected officials to do what DC did. Like you ain't kicking nobody out for rent right now.
Right. Like but here's the thing though, that start like in the 60s, that our elected officials that we had were the main ones who were on the front lines doing that.
Yes.
The gut and the girth of their intestinal fortitude is a little bit false right now.
Wait a minute.
With some of these folks, right? To actually
wait. Can you just say what you just said 4 times?
Gut and girth of their intestinal fortitude. The gut and girth of their intestinal fortitude. The gut and girth. Their intestinal fortitude. Next, Negro. What's next?
Kendra, what is next?
You want me? What's next? No. What was that about, bro?
It sounded like a tongue.
Why are you charging? Why are you charging
like
this
a tongue
man
twister
up?
to me.
Like,
I'm like, why is Marcus
Hey, bro.
I already told Marcus about his SAT words today. Like,
look.
Hey, what I am saying is that I think we need.
But let's keep it on. Let's keep it on the.
I think we need to keep. I think we need to stay home and treat it like a national boycott, right? And make sure that our communities do as little as they possibly can outside of our households to keep ourselves safe. And that's a hard thing to do when there's not an ethos around us. There's no connection between some of the poorest of us and some of the wealthiest of us to realize that to keep our community even alive, that we have to make certain decisions. And that's what I want.
No,
Kendra, what say you?
I mean, I agree. I mean, my concern here, I mean, and again, I'm going to keep this local in state of Georgia, but I know there's plants everywhere. Are these, poultry plants, these meat packing plants, and like the outbreaks that are going on there, and how that's affecting, the Latino community, the Black community, poor whites in those areas. These are in rural areas, and basically, we have a federal administration that has said, to hell with people eating a little less meat for a while. We need to keep these plants open and keep the supply chain flowing at the expense of these folks' health, right? They aren't getting, as Marcus said, they aren't getting hazard pay. They're not getting anything. They haven't modified these assembly lines or anything like that. And then you have I forget, I don't want to miscall the name, but you had an administration official today that said or tried to intimate that it wasn't actually the meat packing plants that were the problem. It's the way these people are living.
The way these people are living.
I took offense to that. He said it's their lifestyle because they live in such close quarters. Well, hell, they live in close quarters because they're living in shoddy apartment buildings around these meat packing plants.
Kendra,
right?
We don't even have to respond to that, right? Like we don't have to.
Okay.
Their racist statements and their placement statements of where we are and why we already Donald Trump is at the top of the ticket. We don't have to answer the crap like that no more. We don't. The things that we need to answer are okay. Like at this point, we need to look.
Excellent point.
We need to look within ourselves, whether it comes down to the Second Amendment, whether it comes down to food, I said it. Click clack, click clack, click clack.
Can I say something to y'all real quick? Hold on. Can I say something real quick?
No, don't tell my business. Don't tell my business.
What?
Anyway, listen. Boy,
what? I want to know. You brought it up.
I'm gonna put out a fake headline tomorrow, and just know that the name of the show is Clickbaity. So it's gonna be some clickbait.
No, Mondale, go ahead, Mondale.
Listen,
I have no problem.
Marcus is supposed to be in Brunswick with me right now. The reason he ain't down here yet is he's waiting on his AR-15 to come in the mail. His AR-15 is supposed to come in the mail today. It didn't show up, so Marcus is waiting on his gun before he comes out.
Clack.
Marcus, you gonna go down there strapped? I love it. Open.
Strapped.
You gonna carry open?
Hey, listen, open, and it's me, and it's me. I'm that guy, man. I am that guy. Like and you know what? Here's the thing. If I'm the next guy, I need 50 more brothers to come down there with me with the AR-15s and do the same thing. And then
it's a birthday celebration, Marcus.
Clack.
It's a birthday celebration.
Clack. Click
So
clack.
listen, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Listen, I hear the Second Amendment as a defense to Black people. Here's my
And
problem.
it wasn't in the mail. It wasn't in the mail. It was delivered to a store that I was supposed to pick up.
Where Amazon? I'm just joking.
Man, come on. What's your problem? What's your problem? What's your problem? What's
This is
your
my
problem?
problem with the Second Amendment. We are outgunned, they out ammoed. I mean, they're single individual white individuals that have $1 million gun closets.
Yeah.
They are armed and trained. And when this government comes down on a war or weapons, which side do you think they're going to fall on? So you have to couple what they already have, the training that they already have, with how the government's going to fall down. And that means Black people are going to be at a serious disadvantage. I'm not saying that people shouldn't own guns. There was no Second Amendment until Black people and white people fought together during the Bacon's Rebellion, and they tried to overthrow the rich. And the rich said, here's what we're going to do for white people. We're going to say white people can never be indentured servants for life. We're going to say white people can get married. We're going to say that white people can own guns. We're going to say that white people can vote.
That's right.
So the creation of the Second Amendment had nothing to do with protecting anybody. The creation of the Second Amendment was all about otherizing Black people. So I'm afraid of it.
And you know what? Your point is taken. This is one of those points where like we're both kind of right, because at this point, if they're gonna murder us anyway, I'd rather be judged.
Facts, Marcus.
I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. I want to see how my chances turn out. And
Did you just quote a trap song?
Yes. Or whatever. I just heard the quote, and it always sticks.
All you need is one.
Because
Marcus, all you need is one to believe you. All you need is one to believe you.
That's right. And here's the thing: I'm no longer like how many cheeks we got left? The only cheek I got left is my ass cheek. Y'all can kiss it, because I'm gonna put one. I'm gonna put one in you if you come after me with that BS, because I'm prepared now, and I'm not sitting up here saying that it's the thing for everybody. Yes, I believe in a peaceful movement, but I mean, when we've been having the same conversation since before Martin Luther King,
exactly.
What else can we do to protect?
I'm not Marcus, you know, I'm not peaceful. I put hands on people if I need to. What I'm talking about is we can't be out here telling Black people to make this an armed revolution, because first of all, we're not prepared for that. Like
Hey, hold on.
Yeah, we're gonna come up short. Right.
Again, instead of braving COVID, I'm sitting waiting for my clap, so I can literally train myself.
That's your PPE. That's your PPE.
That's my PPE. Clap, clap.
That's your PPE. That's your PPE.
So I wanted to ask.
Let's talk about. So we talk about being legal. Wait. We talk about being legal. We can't let. I need to hear what y'all got to say about Mike Flynn going scot-free. This fool pled guilty, and he about to be free as a jaybird.
Listen, today was a day of whiteness, right? Like the fact that Donald Trump, and let's just say this. First of all, Donald Trump is the first president to own a Justice Department. It's Donald Trump's Justice Department. Like,
he's gangster out here. He gangster.
He literally Mike Flynn walked free. They dropped charges on Mike Flynn. Yeah. The whole world know Mike Flynn was guilty, corrupt. Like, he's a Marine, so it hates my Air Force.
Traitor. He's a traitor.
Flynn was as guilty as anybody. He was 10 times more guilty than Oliver North. And like this to me, it just carry on with the idea that, I mean, like, but for real, this is not disconnected from anything else that happened today. Donald Trump refusing to have a real COVID task force anymore. They're just becoming another economic arm or government entity to study what makes business better. Donald Trump basically telling the post office that you belong to me now, and we're going to privatize you. And then Flynn getting set free at the end of the day was like the cigar for their wonderful white day.
Yeah. He's winning today.
I want to just say this. My dear brother Obama, Clinton, Bush, but Donald Trump is giving a brand new civics lesson on what is possible. Oof.
Yes, Marcus. Yes.
So from now on, everybody on earth can miss me. And what I mean by miss me is, oh, well, we can't let that guy out of jail. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Kwame can be let out of jail.
Yes, he can.
Oh,
yes, he can.
We spent $2 trillion and literally 60% of it went to businesses across the country instead of the people, but we can't get reparations because it's too expensive.
Hey,
okay.
Don't worry, Joe Biden's got a lift every voice plan for you, Marcus.
Yes. Oh, listen. What I'm saying is, why does my party, the party that I've been a part of for 20 years, always divert back to we can't, when Donald Trump, in a snap of a finger, Thanos is everything, and it's done. So as far as I'm concerned, Trump did teach me this. Yes, we can.
or yes, white people can.
Yes,
white people can.
Because like I just told you what you gonna get.
Right. And so let me clarify things. We should have a good understanding of the next president being able to put in a Justice Department to reverse all the wrongs that have ever been done.
Consent decrees,
right?
Restore everything, voting right protection, everything.
We know for a fact that we can introduce policies. If we ever get the House and the Senate again, there should be no excuses for making sure that African Americans, people of color across the country, have fair access to Medicare for all, fair access to, because everything is possible. Because
but Marcus, that to me, you're assuming that white liberals want that.
Oh no. Let me clarify that, because Marcus is the former Black outreach director for Bernie Sanders, knows how much right?
Yeah, right.
They will stop at, right?
But
what I will say is that Trump has more guts,
yes,
than anybody we've elected.
That's right.
And because he knows it's a game, and he's walking around like Debo right now.
Yes,
he's around Washington D.C. like Debo. You remember how Debo was like, man, Debo go take the thing.
Right. That's my bike, pump.
That's my bike, bro. And what the employees of DC, all the federal employees.
Let me give you a customer service rate. You just made me remember something that I completely forgot. I don't know how I forgot this. As a resident of the DMV, I don't know how I forgot this. You just said Donald Trump's walking around like the Debo. We've been talking about Donald Trump taking the post office and making his best friend or his one of his top donors the postmaster general. One of the most expensive buildings Donald Trump owns is a government building. He don't own it. He's leasing it from the government in DC. And guess what it was? The old post office building. Yo, mind blown.
Full circle. It comes full circle. Full circle. But he's playing a long game. He's a gangster. Like, that's what he is. You know, we always say, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, he is playing the game. And we, have no recourse but to sit back and watch. I mean, because he's winning. And Marcus is right. He has charted a new course.
Donald Trump has laid
that, we get in office. Yeah, he's laid the groundwork.
Yeah, Donald Trump has laid the groundwork for civil war if he loses election.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Again on that one.
For sure.
Civil war could possibly happen.
Marcus is prepared. Marcus is prepared. He's prepared.
You can't tell me, no one can sit here and tell me that they believe Donald Trump will lose his election and spend from November to January playing nice or not trying to figure out a way to stay in office.
At some point, we have to have a realistic conversation about, what people look at and how people get influenced, right? Donald Trump is not, he's crazy like a fox, right? We all forget that Donald Trump, whether you believe him or not, he had a criminal justice reform initiative of some sort. He at least tried it, right? So here's the thing. It's not beyond Donald Trump to go and do something in the fourth quarter and throw that Hail Mary. A Democrat will never, ever, ever consider, because we are, I think here's the thing about being so tied into corporate interests is that Donald Trump has given so many corporate interests so much that he can go against one corporate interest and throw American people to football, and we'll all just be like, not all of us, but the people who are undecided will be like, that's it. And when my party our party, my party, I'm a Democrat again, when my party decides that we want to be gay, we want to treat our crazies like they got smarts, and we want to place them in places. And I'm not calling anybody particularly crazy. What I am saying,
right, I understand.
Our outspoken voices get muted in the Democratic Party because moderation is key to continuation of capitalism that supports campaigns. Meanwhile, the Republicans and Trump elevate every racist that they possibly can to have an insider track on policy. And at some point, it's like, okay, well, since crazy man X is running this, that, and the other, since Jeff Sessions, the former man from Alabama, became, the head. Anyway, I think we should move on to the next topic, guys. So Mondale, it's on you, sir.
No, I listen. With the black woman that warned the world about Jeff Sessions going to national office before he was Attorney General, she begged Alabama not to elect him Senate. And that was Coretta Scott King. She told them what he was to black people and how dangerous he was. But they didn't listen to it. And she wrote a letter. They didn't listen to it. So yeah, the fact that this brother is and to think about, Jeff Sessions has not and was not the worst soul in Donald Trump's administration.
No. Jeff Sessions was kind of George H.W. compared to what's going on right compared to what's going on right now. Like, you got George H.W. kind of Republicans, and then you got Klan Republicans, right? And don't get me wrong, they'll both be able to accept kind of like
Dick Cheney.
Yeah, Dick Cheney. And here's the thing, and the folks who didn't like the racism,
shoot your friend in the face, Republicans.
Yeah, right. Shoot your friend in the face. Don't you miss those days?
Dick Cheney, man.
The good old days when you just shoot your friend in the face.
You know what I mean? Trump is
buckshot at that dude.
7-year-old that has executive power. Like, I'm letting all of my friends out of jail. He's like, I'm like, Mom, you're not putting me on punishment.
You know what I think about when you said that, Marcus? Hey, y'all, think about this. I'm really like loopy right now. I don't know if y'all can tell. I had an early flight this morning. But listen, Donald, you said I'm letting all my friends out of jail. He's old. It reminded me of the piece on the McDonald's Monopoly game. And Donald Trump loves double cheeseburgers at McDonald's. So it's like he's just playing Monopoly with American. He's just playing Monopoly. Donald Trump's like, everybody can go.
Yes.
Everybody can go.
Oh, yeah.
Do not go to jail. Just go. Speaking of just going.
And then they're grifting. So it's not just,
You stuck, Kendra? Go ahead.
Oh, nah. She just was listening to you.
No, I was waiting on you.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to hear his grifting coming.
No, I just said he was
you go.
Y'all are saying everybody can go to jail.
You go.
You're saying everybody can go to jail.
You go.
Okay, listen, stop. I said everybody can go to jail, but that's fine. You get out of jail free, whatever, but they're grifting at the same time. That's what I am like in awe of, right? So this man is running the whole campaign. That's fine. He's raising all this money. He's not spending that money on anything because he ain't paying no bills. His campaign staff, though, are getting paid like fat cats. They're gonna walk out of here millionaire, because that's where everybody get rich. Get as much as you can as quickly as possible. That's it. His kids, everybody is in on it, and we're just sitting idly by. But the key thing between us and, to this point, between Democrats and Republicans, is they play to win at all costs.
And they're 10 years ahead of us.
They're going to win at all costs, and we won't do that.
They're 10 years ahead of us. I mean, like,
we're
fighting their gerrymandering stuff from 2010, right? So I don't even know what they're working on right now, because we still battling with.
We still talking about the Southern strategy, okay? Right. And that was way back. What was it, Atwater? Like, we got to step our game up.
Right, and I mean, like, we
step our
game up. How we lose, how bad we lose. This is not new. Somebody said I'm pro-life, and then a Democrat said I'm pro-choice. Wait, like, that was not the right. We lost when we lost.
I don't even participate.
It just went all downhill, because if they would have said I'm pro-life to me back then when we was talking about the Roe v. Wade argument, I'm like, great. Didn't call for the end of death penalty. You can't be pro-life and be for death penalty. Like, so like that would have ended that argument right there. And we're laughing and being light about it, but the Democratic Party play politics just this way. If you don't believe me, why do you believe half of the black men in this country that are already registered, not the ones that need to be registered, that are already registered, have not voted in 5 elections consecutively?
Yeah,
and that's not a critique. That's not a critique of black men, because we know, like I always say, voting is a habit that's formed by money spent on it. Ain't nobody spending money on black men voting.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the most consistent things that we can talk about. But I mean, engagement from the Democratic Party and black men is something that like we are all in different ways working on. So right. I think what we need to do at this point is literally force the hand of the party by having conversations that, like you said, are 5 years ahead. You know the 10-year ahead conversation is for Democrats. A 10-year ahead conversation for Democrats is, okay, let's make sure that there's weed credits for African Americans to go ahead and buy. A 10-year conversation ahead is like things that should be happening 10 years from the America that everybody should think about and justify. So we're in a very interesting place.
Yeah, we are.
It's 9:34.
Good.
But wait, hold on, before you keep going, Kendra. Tell them cheering in your house, get off the internet while you on our show.
Hold on, Marcus. Hold on, let's say something else real quick. For y'all that don't know Kendra, y'all should go to Kendra's page. Kendra bought a whole NBA stadium and put it in her backyard. Am I lying, Marcus?
No, listen. You need to have binoculars to see them play basketball in their backyard from the back porch. By the way, yeah, there's a basketball court called. There's a basketball court in the backyard.
It's some tiles over some press table that these brothers are trying to embellish. That my boys had what?
Marcus.
What?
What's the LA Clippers, the racist owner of that basketball team? What was his name?
Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling.
Listen, when Donald Sterling made those comments, Kendra went in there and was like, look, I'm gonna offer you this much for your stadium. Move it to Georgia. She got it for the low. If I was growing up, listen, if I was a child in that house, I would never leave I would never leave the basketball court or the tennis court or the underground swimming pool, whatever it is.
Man, that's their college fund.
That's their college fund.
That's it, man. Like here in this house, man, you better bounce that ball. You better do something, right? We ain't got no money saved for you to go to school.
Or 17.5.
For y'all that don't know Kendra is extremely hilarious, but also a brilliant soul, and she definitely has a plan for her kids.
Hey, Mondale, I got a question for you both, because I think it's time for us to wind down.
I don't have any wine. I'm stuck in the hotel in Brunswick, and they kill brothers for jogging here.
You're actually in the epicenter of what just happened, right? And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All
right. What's your question?
My question is this right here. So when it comes down to where we are, today was a specifically tough day for Black people in general, African Americans in general. So I want to check in. I want to do something that we don't do much. I want to do a mental health check, right? A public mental health check, right? And I want to actually ask you first, Mondale. Mondale, where are you right now? What happened to you today, and how do you feel right now?
So I'm actually running off of little to no sleep. Had a 5 o'clock flight to get down here, just so I can support something that's important to me, and that's Black life. Even when it's gone, it's important to like be there for the family. So I'm here for that. As someone who has lost a sibling to violence, today is extremely hard for me. Also, driving down that long road to get here from Atlanta to Brunswick, it is extremely like nerve-wracking thinking about the ancestors and how amazing they are to get from here to there, and then all the way past the Mason-Dixon line. Mentally, I'm good. I got something great going on in my life right now. It ain't public information, but it's as beautiful as a peony, and I love it for that. So yeah, man, my therapist is happy with me. I'm happy with her, and life is good. Yeah.
Good. It's good to hear. Sister Kendra, all the way from the mansion.
I'm doing well. You know, it's a difficult time when you're at home with three teenagers and, you know, their life is in an upheaval. So my husband and I are working overtime just to make sure that they're staying balanced. They miss their friends, they miss school, you know, the connectivity and the camaraderie of school, you know, kicking it in the hallways with their friends. My daughter's home from college, you know, and, you know, to have had her semester, you know, cut short and the uncertainty as to whether or not, you know, they're going to be going back in the fall. So it's like, you know, we think about these things and, you know, as a parent, you know, kids shouldn't be cooped up like this. Unlike a lot of parents, you know, my kids really are under quarantine. My daughter was diagnosed with lupus last spring, so we are very diligent about making sure that we limit our time out, you know, outside of the home because we don't want her, even though she's really kind of asymptomatic, we don't want her to get any symptoms, right? We don't want anything to happen. So that has been really hard on our sons. No friends have come over. They're not out, you know, playing, you know, with their friends in the neighborhood. So yeah, it's been a strain, but we have a very strong family unit, very good, you know, communication. Everybody gets along well. So I'm feeling very blessed about that. You know, they don't lack any, you know, services. They've always been able to do the distance learning and all of that. So, you know, for me, I just try to stay in a positive mindset because I know that everybody isn't as fortunate, you know?
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kendra. And myself, to be honest with you, it's repeating the same thing over and over again has gotten to me, from being in the house every day to like going online and seeing another Black man killed, especially, and it just automatically triggered something in me from when my cousin died, right? And it's just like, when are we going to win? And then I think about what our small victories look like. I take small victories like Mondale jumping in a plane to go down to Brunswick, Georgia, just to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm happy about fighters. I'm happy about our resistance, right? And I mean, you know, and I have thought long and hard today about like where I am and what my life means. And I'm not playing when I say something about the Second Amendment. I'm not. I've been about that all day long, right? Like, what else? I refuse to let my friends and family, Mondale, Kendra, if y'all were around me, I'm gonna protect y'all too. Like,
no, that's right.
At
That's
some
real
point,
talk.
we cannot keep. So I've looked at the political answer. So what's going on with me today is I'm frustrated because I've looked for a political answer. I've looked for a peaceful answer, and I've looked for an ally-driven answer. And the only answer that I got left is the paperwork that they signed a couple 100 years ago, saying that from what y'all said, even though y'all said it was for white men, from what y'all said, I can hold this right here and I'll just go ahead and risk it. Because like Tupac did, man, you might have to just buck back every now and then and make sure that you are living to see another day. That's so I think about my health. I think about going jogging. I think about going when I take my 7-mile walks. And the good news is today I got my Ninja Foodie in, so I can eat a little bit healthier. So if anybody got some recipes, make sure you hit me up at MarcusForAmerica.com. I'm gonna end it, but first I'm gonna go around. Mondale, you got any final thoughts, my brother?
I just want to pray for everybody that's here or coming here tomorrow to support the family of Ahmaud. I also want to remind people that brother would have been 26 for sure tomorrow, but Sunday his mother has to wake up without her son. The same is true for Sean Reed, and their deaths is triggering another Black mother right now, a few of them. So hug somebody virtually. If you got somebody's phone number that lost a child, reach out to them. Make sure you're close to them. It's that time of the year where mothers are probably remembering their babies, regardless of what age they were when they lost. So I'm at Mondale on all social media platforms. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah. Kendra, do you have any final thoughts, sister?
No, I'm good, man. I appreciate y'all having me on. This has been fun.
Thank you very much.
How do people find you, Kendra? Hold on, Marcus. How do people find you?
Well, you can. I am at Mama KDC on Twitter, or at Kendra Cotton, and on Facebook, same thing at Kendra Cotton.
Kendra, let's make sure we do it again. And
For sure, man.
And we really thank you for joining us at the Political Thirst Trap. My name is Marcus Farrell. I thank you guys for joining us. Please join us next Tuesday at 8:30. You can find me at Marcus for America. We will be on Instagram pretty soon. And Mondale, my brother, thank you for everything you're doing. I plan on seeing you tomorrow. Please pay attention to your family, your friends. Black folks, don't get too traumatized. White folks, be allies and advertise, and we can go from there. Thank you for tuning in to Political Thirst Trap. Peace.
See y'all.
Peace, y'all.
Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah, we here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight, unapologetic. Yeah. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Yeah. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap